Hi guys, welcome back. So for my third video I thought I'd do a 5 lessons I've learned, the biggest lessons, because I've learned loads. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first biggest lesson I've learned on this development was even before we even got on site. So it's the funding. So development finance takes a long time. Just make sure you've researched with your broker which lender you're looking to use. We had a couple lenders drop out. No explanation really why. They went through the application with us, got to the point where they said, yep, committee's happy, and then they decided actually it's not for us. So yeah, that's one thing. Make sure we're looking at the lender, make sure they're credible, and they're well established. The next bit on that one is the investors. So make sure you've got backup. We've had a few investors say they want to be involved. They get involved, and then unfortunately they didn't have the funds available right away. So from my point, that would be next time I'd need to see proof of funds before we even move further. Making sure their funds are able to be withdrawn in time, ready for the project. So making sure you have multiple investors on board always helps. You can always find another deal to put investors' money to work. So I mean, we got 3 deals. Well, I've got 3 deals now moving forward. So multiple projects for investors to invest in. So yeah, so that's my biggest lesson on my first development, is making sure you've got some backup lending. Because when ours did drop out, it was a mad rush to then try and find another investor to replace. And luckily we've had some good vendors that they were happy to wait, but that could lose you the deal. So yeah, that's my first one. So number 2 on the biggest lessons I've learned on this development, the team. So as a developer, you need to be able to leverage and use other people's skill set and time to move your project along. We've had some great team members and great subcontractors and professional people as well. We have had a few instances where people just didn't have the time or capability to fill the roles we needed. So that's made delays, made us have to pick up extra work. It's not going to be easy to find your perfect team straight away, but it is a process you need to go through. I've been doing this now 3 years, networking a lot, meeting new people, new contractors, new professional people. So yeah, it takes time to get to know those people. Like even those you're going to go into JVing with, you need to try and learn, get to know them a bit better, rather than meeting them for one time and then jumping onto a project with them. That's my opinion anyway. I'd always look to build a rapport with someone first, then look at doing a deal. If it's the landowner, obviously you're not going to have that time. So as long as you get stuff in place, written and signed and agreed, but you can still build a rapport with them. So just try from the earliest convenience. So yeah, just make sure the professional team you build around you has the skill set, has the time and interest to do it with you as well. So yeah, that's my second biggest lesson this project. So lesson number 3 is the planning stage. So for this project, we had Class Q planning in place, ready to go, but it only had one of the units was for a 4-bed detached bungalow style barn conversion, and then we had 2 other further units, both going to be 2-bed units. So we felt for the project it wasn't going to be beneficial to have 2-bed properties on there because of the size of the land. So we wanted to put 4-bed properties there. So we went back into planning to put an extension on the second barn 2, to make it a 4-bed, which would enhance the value, enhance the GDV, and just give a better overall building to sell. And then the third one was we wanted planning permission to knock down and rebuild a brand new building there. So we got on site, started through the process of demolition, clearing out, and then started construction of the barn 3 and barn 2, the bits we were keeping. So we thought we could crack on with that while the planning was going on in the background to do our phase 2. Unfortunately, we were probably about a week or two too late for putting the planning in place, which meant the new laws of BNG kicked in. So BNG is biodiversity net gain. So every new development has to have 10% net gain for such things as trees, hedgerows, natural flowers, and so forth. So if we were 2 weeks earlier, we wouldn't have had to do that. But nevertheless, we had to do it. But the issue we had was the ecologist that was doing it, very experienced with what they do, but because we already started work, they wasn't sure what the planners wanted from us in respect of do they do it on what was there before or what is there now. So that took a while, and I think that added around about 4 to 6 months on top of what we needed. Probably about four-ish months, but a bit longer than that, it felt anyway. So yeah, that's in that time we were still doing some work on site, but it wasn't a lot of work, so we could have really ploughed on. So I think the other thing we got to watch as well is that we were incurring interest monthly, so that cost us a little bit of money. So moving forward, I'm making sure that all planning is in place before we start, before we even complete. If there is going to be changes to planning, I want that done before we even get on site, so we know exactly what we're doing, exactly where we're moving forward. And yeah, basically it will make the project flow a lot smoother. We've got one site now where we've had planning, we are going back into planning. We've agreed with a vendor that we're doing that, and then we are going to coincide, once the planning is in place, we'll then complete and then move on, so we don't incur charges while we're waiting for that. So yeah, just overall on that one, just make sure all your planning's in place, all your reserved matters are ticked off, and you know what you're doing from the outset to save any issues on site and loss of interest. So my fourth biggest lesson for this development is cash flow. So making sure you have enough cash flow in the business to keep the property, the development site moving smoothly. So when I set this up, I got the investment for the project to enough to purchase the site, and then we would do a month's work, then we get a drawdown from our lender. So that process is pretty quick. So for example, if the lender's QS will come out on a Monday, they would do their report on a Tuesday, then we normally get that money on the Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday. So it's pretty quick, but we could find it easier I could find it easier if we had cash in the bank to move the project along. So buying stuff up front would have been cheaper rather than sometimes hiring stuff, getting deals when we can. Yeah, so just making sure for now, moving forward, I will make sure there's enough investment there to purchase a property and have some cash flow in the bank. It just helps the project move a lot smoother. Yeah, so that's lesson 4. So my fifth and final lesson for this property development is the stress factor. So don't underestimate how much stress this process puts you under. It's a big thing. There's a lot of moving mechanics to a development, and I think it can easily overwhelm you on your first development, even on your second and third if you don't get that in check. It is very time heavy and emotionally draining, so making sure you have systems and things in place to make sure you're not overloaded. Taking some time out as well to de-stress. So for me, it's going to the gym, walking the dogs, making sure you have that time. At the beginning, it was full steam in, ploughing all my time into it. But I've learned now you need to be able to, one, leverage as much as you can to those good skills that can take on the roles. Taking some time out for yourself to actually have some downtime, really, just to relax, de-stress. It's very easily in the project to come up to a problem, which happens quite often, if to be honest, in a project. So when you get an issue or problem, literally the first thing is try and fix it. But I've learned to try and take a bit of time to actually analyze what's gone wrong, and then look to try and find an alternative route to try and fix it. So not everything goes to plan, but that's okay. It doesn't. It never will do. You'll always have problems, but that will build resilience. It's very easy to get overwhelmed by the project, and then many times it's felt probably easy just to walk away and think, actually, give up. But you've got to look at what you're doing this for. So for me, it's getting my time back, getting the freedom to be able to do what we want as a family, giving family opportunities to do things that we'd never feel like we could do before. So the suffering is going to be worth it. And you will build that resilience up as you go through the project, multiple projects as well. You're going to keep building that up no matter how many deals you do. I think one thing that's happened with me is when an issue happens, instead of dwelling on it, I instantly think, how do I fix it? How do I resolve it? So that's been something I've learned, I've noticed in myself through the project that I do quite quickly now, is I revert straight to trying to find a fix for the problem. So going into this project, I never wanted, I'll say never wanted, but I never assumed I was going to make hundreds of thousands, millions of money from this one. It's not about maximizing profit in your first deal. It's about the lessons you learn. So I've learned what kind of team I want to be around me, how to structure the project moving forward in a better way that will flow better. I've learned all the things that could come up in a property development, a barn conversion. I've learned so many skills that I can now move on to my next deals and my next projects. It's given me that history with lenders as well. So this is a really important one. So lenders will now look at this project as one I've completed. I've successfully completed. We've made profit. We've paid lenders back. We've paid investors back. And it's been a successful project. So this is going to go positively moving forward to doing more projects. You've got to show that the project makes profit. So there's no point obviously doing it if it doesn't. So this is a very, very big thing. You'll learn going through. So don't forget, on your first property deal, the return on investment is mainly the experience. The experience you gain from doing a development from start to finish much outweighs just doing one deal and making a decent amount of money. Because for me, this first deal has opened the door to new projects. So the contacts I've made through this deal has given me more opportunities. So there's certain projects that's come my way because of this deal. We've got so much more experience now to go into another deal more confident, and knowing that we can run it a lot smoother, a lot more efficient as well. So yeah, so that's obviously, we're still not at the end of our project yet, so there's still more lessons to learn. We've got one more build to build out, and then we're just finishing off the last two. So I'm sure there's still going to be more lessons I'm learning through the project to take forward for the next ones. So I hope everyone likes that video. If you've got any comments or questions, please put in the comment section, and I'll try my best to get back to you. Thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.